There are a lot of parts that make up a video game. From what kind of story you want to tell, to what kind of art style it has, to the type of gameplay and control informing how you interact with them. What kind of building blocks are used determines the particular feeling or responses that are evoked. Super Mario Wonder maintains a bright and colorful aesthetic with an art style that heavily contrasts a more dark and serious game like The Last of Us. Strong, snappy attacks with fluid animations are easy to pull off in Street Fighter, creating an empowering feeling, while the slow, heavy swings of Silent Hill leave you weak and vulnerable, implying combat should best be avoided. This exact same principle applies to music. The high-octane industrial rock of Devil May Cry hypes you up performing stylish combos, while the serene sounds of Stardew Valley's seasonal soundtrack keeps you cozy so you can farm for hours on end. This is all to say music and sound has always been there to strengthen gameplay. But there are a few games out there that use music to make up that first and primary pillar of what gives a game its identity. Different from a rhythm game, the music isn't there just to support the gameplay. Rather, the gameplay is there to support the music. I always talk about video games as an experience, and there's one man with many talented developers behind him that's been creating musical synesthesia since the start of the 2000s. Tetsuya Mizuguchi started his career in video games by joining SEGA. Mizuguchi was inspired by a techno rave. The lights, the sounds, and the people evoke this feeling that he wanted to recreate. There's one game in particular that embodies that mission, and that game is Rez. On the face of it, Rez Infinite is an arcade-style rail shooter. Lock on the enemies by holding the fire button, while moving the crosshair over enemies, obstacles, and missiles. Let go to fire back attacks of your own. You can't control your movement, so it's important to attack enemies before they attack you, or shoot down their shots before they reach you. Your health is your evolution level. Collect evolution items dropped by enemies to increase your evolution level. Enemies also drop overdrive items that destroy everything on screen for a limited time. So the game is simple. Waggle the crosshair with some accuracy required. Hit enemies and don't get hit. You'll fly through 5 main acts searching for network openings. There's small cubes that boost your analysis rate. Aim for 100% analysis to unlock the next area. The whole game takes place in cyberspace. An AI called Eden was created to bring the world away from collapse. With an ever-increasing flow of information, Eden found itself having an existential crisis and began shutting itself down. Honestly, relatable. You enter cyberspace to reawaken Eden, gaining access to each new area and layer of the system. Rez is pretty short, about 2 hours long. Beyond the main game, there are a few side levels, score attack, boss rush, and other modes. The thing that makes Rez stand out is that presentation. Each act is accompanied by music from multiple Japanese and European artists. This collaborative effort gives each area its own vibe. Areas become a playable visual album. The cyberspace locations really resemble the laser light show of techno raves that Mizuguchi was originally inspired by. They create this space with light and sound that envelop you in synesthesia, or simultaneous sensory experience. As you enter each new level in an area, the music will evolve. Sometimes it's just a new layer added into the mix, other times you move to the next progression of the song. The player interacts with this music with gameplay. Locking on the enemies adds a drum snare, while firing at them adds more distinct noises to the soundscape. Each evolution level has its own unique design and sound effects to accompany them. You're adding to the music through play, creating this relationship with the sights, sounds, and inputs. Only after discovering Rez Infinite did I realize Mizuguchi's been involved in making games for years, including Rez. Mizuguchi joined SEGA in 1990, working on various projects, until he came to co-create Space Channel 5. This was his first real attempt at creating a game that features music and rhythm as a major element. Space Channel 5 is essentially an interactive music game of Simon Says. Characters dance on screen using the 4 directional inputs, and X to perform actions. Ulala needs to repeat these moves in order to boost her news station's ratings. It's not like other rhythm games with notes that take up most of the screen. Instead, characters say their actions while moving their bodies in the same direction for the player to follow along. With all the screen space freed up, the game involves you in a story. Levels follow Ulala doing a little investigative journalism to find the truth surrounding the strange events as aliens invade, forcing people to dance. It's a simple gameplay loop that anyone can enjoy, told with silly high energy, twists and turns, and fun characters. Then came the original release of Rez on Dreamcast and PlayStation 2. The minor differences in the original include a much better tutorial, showing you the basics of gameplay through videos and giving you time to practice each action compared to the wall of text in Rez Infinite. The stylized menus of the original also take a hit during the switch to Infinite. The original better captures the cyberspace computer system aesthetic. It also promotes the artists and music better in the area select by sampling their music, associating each with a color, and having the avatar and backgrounds bounce to the sound waves of the music. Infinite, on the other hand, is silent, simple, and empty. The Japanese PlayStation 2 release of Rez also came with the most absurd peripheral I've ever seen, the Trance Vibrator. So of course I bought it. Mizuguchi played it straight, so now I have to as well. According to a Eurogamer interview with Mizuguchi, that was kind of a joke, but a serious joke. No sexual meaning. We always listen to music by ear, and you can watch the visuals moving, the dynamics in Rez. So it's kind of a cross-sensation feeling. Designed to be on your body, like in your pocket, under your feet, or sitting on it. The Trance Vibrator is a neat little device. The DualShock 2 controller has its own vibration feedback, so the Trance Vibrator will vibrate separately from the controller. The controller mostly moves while performing actions like firing and taking damage, while the peripheral will move to the beat of the music, delivering on that cross-sensation feeling as advertised. Mizuguchi left Sega in order to have more creative control over the direction of his future projects. So in 2003, he co-founded Q Entertainment with other ex-Sega employees. Games like Lumines, Meteos, Every Extend, and Child of Eden were developed under Mizuguchi, while trying to refine and expand on the concept and core ideas explored with Rez. Games like Lumines and Meteos introduced unique puzzle gameplay with that musical spin seen in Mizuguchi's earlier works. Lumines is about dropping and rotating 2x2 colored blocks in order to make matching squares. Those matching squares disappear when the timeline sweeps over them. Because the blocks disappear only at specific intervals, Lumines has this unique pacing, encouraging quick, well-timed actions. You need to match as many colored blocks as possible in one sweep, rather than setting up combos for when matched blocks drop. The Q Entertainment charm comes from the sound design. Blocks will make satisfying sounds when combined into squares, and when cleared by the timeline. As your score climbs, new skins will unlock that change the music and sounds that play with each action. The reward for doing well is the music. Meteos released on the Nintendo DS. It's a puzzle game created with the supervision of Masahiro Sakurai. You can tell because it has the Sakurai menus. The Sakurai menus. Ooh! Meteos is a match 3 puzzle game. The catch being that you can only move blocks vertically, and when they match, they fire up into space. Matched blocks will solidify and stick together. If the amount of blocks on top or gravity is high enough, you'll need to match more blocks for a secondary ignition before they fall back down. Quick combos are encouraged in order to give the hovering blocks another boost. The touchscreen is a really good fit for this kind of game. It gives that extra bit of precision you need, especially when you need to swap blocks as they're falling. Meteos has a lot of personality in a genre that usually doesn't get any. The falling blocks, the Meteos, are in danger of destroying all life in the universe. It was later discovered that fusing 3 of them in a row would send them back into space. The civilizations of each planet then banded together to stop the evil planet Meteo. There's a wide selection of little alien guys to choose from that represent each planet and actually plays differently. Every planet has unique visuals with their background and block designs, unique audio with songs and matching sound effects, and unique gameplay. Each planet has its own gravity, width, and elemental distribution. They didn't need to add context or a whole universe to a puzzle game, but by doing so, they turned a simple puzzle game into a fun, grand space adventure. Every Extend is by far my favorite of these earlier titles. It's like a bullet hell shoot 'em up, but the only ability your ship has is to self-destruct. Detonating your ship will detonate enemies, causing a chain reaction of explosions. The higher the chain, the higher your score. So while I described it as a shoot 'em up, it equally feels like a puzzle game. Dodging enemies and bullets, waiting for the right time while staying close enough to catch the most amount of ships in an explosion. You can wait until the last possible second, since you'll be respawning with a new ship anyway. Borders on the left and right of the screen let you see enemies approaching from the sides, and the PSP screen leaves just enough room to frantically move around the space. Green enemies drop extends that boost your score, giving you more ships to detonate. Yellow drops time extensions, and purple drops quickens that are essential to getting a high score. Quickens raise the speed and enemy spawn rates. It sounds like it would just make the game harder, but it's important to have more enemies on screen to make bigger chains. So you're building a high score, managing your time, and your stock of ships. Get hit and you lose precious time, and drop all of the quickens you've built up. Each stage has a boss. Bosses can only be damaged by building a large enough chain. Like in previous Q Entertainment games, each level has its own unique visuals and sound design. Moving, charging, and detonating all adds their own layer of sounds to the music. The levels and bosses make this game for me. Meeting the challenge, fighting unique bosses, and unlocking a new level helps elevate the fun and creative arcade gameplay. In 2008, Rez was ported to Xbox 360 as Rez HD, and a few years later in 2011, Child of Eden was released. Child of Eden feels like a true continuation of Mizuguchi's multi-sensory exploration. Earlier games in Q Entertainment's library were pretty puzzle games with a focus on their music and sound design. Child of Eden is very much the spiritual sequel to Rez. We're back to the rail shooter while exploring our senses with all the HD graphics the 7th generation of console hardware can provide. Now you can involve your body as you experience the sensations of music and sound with motion controls. You can move the crosshair with the PlayStation Move controller, Xbox Kinect, or better yet, neither of those options. You move your arm to aim and flick your wrist to shoot, with varying responsiveness. The PlayStation Move worked well enough. It only got exhausting because of the questionable choice to make the most common action in the game tied to flicking the controller. You get a new attack that's used by pressing the back trigger, so I can't help but imagine better decision-making skills where the main attack could have also been on a button. The Xbox Kinect, well, I'm sure you can take a guess how well it works. In theory, you aim with your hands, change weapons by changing hands, and launch bombs by stretching both of your arms in the air. Thankfully, the game also supports standard controllers. Lumi was the first human born in outer space. She dreamed of traveling to Earth but was never able to. After her death, her memories were preserved and archived on the internet now referred to as Eden. Scientists attempt to recreate Lumi's persona within Eden. She reawakens, but a dangerous virus threatens Lumi and Eden, so it's up to the player to remove the virus and save them both. Mizuguchi is a man of many talents, but I never imagined one of those talents was producing a virtual band. In 2006, Mizuguchi co-created Genki Rockets alongside Kenji Tamai, the both of them filling the roles of music producers and musicians. The lead star of Genki Rockets was none other than Lumi. Lumi's appearance was based on singer and model Rei Yasuda, and Lumi's voice was a combination of Rei and Nami Miyahara's voices. Genki Rockets would go on to release 2 albums and various singles, even performing live shows featuring visuals of Lumi performing on stage. Just to give you some perspective, Genki Rockets debuted in 2006. Hatsune Miku debuted in 2007 with her first live show in 2009. Just like Half-Life and Doom aren't the first FPS games, Hatsune Miku and Genki Rockets weren't the first virtual pop stars, but they both made their impact to help popularize and innovate on the concept. Even back then, Mizuguchi was at the cutting edge, exploring new concepts for entertainment with the idea of a virtual pop star while topping the charts with their music. Mizuguchi went one step further by taking their work with Lumi and incorporating her as a character in Child of Eden. It's rare to see a concept like this translated to so many different mediums, especially during the time. Lumi is a singer, a live performer, and a video game character. Blending all those concepts into one experience is an impressive feat. With Child of Eden featuring new and old music from Genki Rockets, levels feel like a big interactive music video for Lumi. Levels burst into a chorus of music and visuals as Lumi is freed from the virus's clutches. Breaking free and taking in the colorful visuals evokes emotions of joy that Mizuguchi wanted players to feel. Child of Eden even features submitted images gathered during development called the Journey Project. Fans were able to submit their favorite memories in the form of photographs featured in the final level. It's a kind gesture that brings together a sense of connectedness with everyone around the world. Mizuguchi left Q Entertainment in 2013 as their parent company went defunct. He founded Enhanced Games in 2014 and is the CEO of the company. In 2016, Res Infinite was released. It's essentially a remaster of the original Res, with added game modes and VR functionality. Advertised with VR support, it's finally starting to seem like technology is catching up with Mizuguchi's vision. So it's only fair that Res gets brought into the modern age with the use of this new tech. Playing Res in VR enhances that cyberspace aesthetic Res was always going for. The laser lights and sounds now surround the player, fully immersing their senses into the world. Res Infinite includes a new area called Area X. This level was built with all the tools and graphic fidelity now available. The result is a space where players can fly freely, a space lit up with moving glowing particle effects paired to the new music by artist Hydelic. When everything hits, it feels like a celebration truly elevated by the use of VR. Then came Tetris Effect. Tetris Effect feels like a natural conclusion of the lessons learned from both Q Entertainment's early puzzle games and the synesthesia experiences of Res and Child of Eden. Tetris is a worldwide phenomenon that's been released, re-released, and reimagined countless times. But nothing is quite like Tetris Effect. It's named after the research phenomenon of the same name. It's when something we focus on for extended periods of time start appearing in our thoughts, dreams, and even the real world. Have you ever packed for a trip or stacked things on a shelf and tried to fit them perfectly in place like Tetris blocks? That right there is an example of Tetris Effect. By looking at Tetris, you can boil down what makes video games so addicting. You're exercising your brain, learning a new skill, and being rewarded for it. You have a clear goal, removing blocks and reaching a high score within the confines of the game's rules. That reward is all the positive reinforcement you need to keep playing. There's an emotional, mental, and mechanical satisfaction playing Tetris, multiple qualities eliciting a unique response. Sounds a lot like synesthesia. Incorporating the sights and sounds of synesthesia with the addicting gameplay of Tetris creates this zen-like experience. With every move of a block comes a sound. With every rotation comes another. With every row completed, another. Each level is a journey. They start quiet and ambient, then flow into song before erupting into a dance of sights and sounds. Visuals will glow and flow with every completed row. Before you can get bored of a level, it'll transition to a new theme. By the end of Journey mode, the level's themes have really taken you on a journey. Some levels explore nature, others explore culture, and even important milestones in human history. The speed of the falling blocks fluctuate, even in the same level. That irregular pace encourages a flow state and challenges you at each level. It does increase the difficulty, but with the new zone meter, you'll be able to pause blocks from falling for a short time, letting you catch your breath, or better yet, build a high score. Completed rows during zone don't disappear. Instead, they move to the bottom and open up room for more rows to be completed. This gives you a chance to complete more than the max 4 rows that you would be able to normally. Activating the zone meter inverts the colors, muffles and echoes sounds, giving sensation to the idea of focus. I was never into Tetris before Tetris Effect, and even I find myself coming back to it time and time again. I think it goes to show all the work that went into reimagining Tetris into Tetris Effect was a success. That was before I even played it in VR. Tetris Effect was originally made with VR in mind. VR definitely plays a huge role in enhancing that feeling of synesthesia. It's an entirely different sensation and feeling, seeing the visuals move towards and surround you in VR. For Humanity, we're back to a puzzle game, but unlike anything else I've played. Its director Yugo Nakamura and his team didn't even have a background in making games. They're part of a design company in Tokyo known for engineering, architecture, and landscape design. Humanity started as a concept. How many digital people can we put on a screen at once? They eventually presented their concept at the Unity Festival to Mizuguchi, who was one of the judges. Mizuguchi decided to give Nakamura the resources to turn humanity into a full game. Mizuguchi was on board as a producer, while the title was being directed by Nakamura. You wake up in a strange place called the Testing Grounds in the body of a Shiba Inu. You're asked by a mysterious voice to guide an endless march of humans to the light by placing commands on the ground like turn and jump. As you lead the people, you must also collect a limited number of goldies. They're described as being worshipped by the people. You need to bring these goldies to the light within each trial to progress. As you gather more humans and goldies, you unlock new sequences. Overcoming each sequence brings you closer to figuring out why you are here and what purpose these trials serve. It's got some of the most traditional gameplay and narrative compared to some of the other games covered, but it's not without that enhanced charm with its unique gameplay and presentation. The voices that greet you in this white space are colored cores. They speak in abstract about inherent traits that make humans: their body, soul, experience, wisdom, and connection. These traits are expressed in the idle conversation you have with the cores, as well as in the gameplay. It's impressive just how much creative level design exists from this simple set of rules. Trials and gameplay elements constantly evolve with new abilities, new obstacles, and new limitations, causing you to find new ways to approach each. It's the kind of thought-provoking level design that has you staring intensely at a screen for minutes before you even make a move. You can tell the level designers had fun experimenting too. The game's rules set expectations that they later subvert. The gameplay genre even changes multiple times while staying within the exact same framework of the earlier trials. It's honestly refreshing seeing that they weren't afraid to change up the rules and gameplay throughout the experience. By the end of the trial, you're looking at a spectacle avalanche of people. The music and the imagery can be breathtaking at times, and the game's soundtrack has this, I don't know how else to describe it, but stimulating music. It's full of interesting sounds that ripple in your ear. It's not without its problems though. Some mechanics were obtuse and at worst inconsistent, like trying to figure out how exactly changing pathing interacts with the endless armies of humans. There isn't the same kind of immediate feedback compared to something like changing movement or jump commands. Humans also have collision detection and can wander off the track. It's not a huge deal when there's a continuous march of humans to replace them, but it causes problems when a single irreplaceable goalie stumbles off course for seemingly no reason. Goldies are directly tied to progression, so it's frustrating losing a goalie to pathing or losing him to a 50-50 split, causing you to have to start over from the beginning. There's a pause and even a fast forward command, but no rewind. Something that could have saved me actual hours of repeated gameplay over simple unfixable mistakes. That aside, Humanity is a special game full of interesting moments with thought-provoking puzzles. Mizuguchi had a clear vision from the start with a passion to experiment. To him, video games were a medium he could use to offer unique experiences as entertainment. In an interview in Next Generation 1996, he said, "I prefer doing something in relation to human senses or entertainment. Something more in relation with human nature. A field where I could do some research. I discovered that the entertainment world would be suitable. Unlike the arts, where it's often a matter of taste whether something's good or not, creating good interactive entertainment is more easily definable." Reading this interview, it's like Mizuguchi focused more on a scientific approach over an artistic one. It's a really interesting perspective when you come at entertainment and human experience with a priority to research and discover over personal artistic expression. When you combine that perspective with countless talented artists that bring these projects to life, you end up with something really special. Mizuguchi had always incorporated hardware for the games he worked on, dating all the way back to Res with the using of the Dreamcast Rumble Pack, back when controller rumble wasn't a built-in feature. There's the previously mentioned Trance Vibrator for the PS2, touch controls for Meteos, the Kinect and PlayStation Move for Child of Eden, and VR support for Res Infinite, Tetris Effect, and Humanity. There's even more I wasn't able to try for myself, including Child of Eden supporting the short-lived PlayStation 3D TV, and the insane-looking futuristic devices that are being designed under Synesthesia Lab. If the technology wasn't there for an experience Mizuguchi had envisioned, he was still innovating with ideas ahead of their time. And if the technology was there, he made sure to use it to the fullest to enhance his vision, even being open to giving resources to other talent he believes in. Without Mizuguchi, Humanity might not exist as it does now. Mizuguchi and the other creative engineers working with him truly are innovating with how we experience all of our senses, and Res to me is the origin of that idea. These days, there are many creative developers that incorporate sound and music as a primary feature of a game. Music isn't just there to complement gameplay anymore. Now gameplay can complement music as you interact with a playable visual album in Sayonara Wild Hearts, become acquainted with a virtual band in We Are OFK, use music as a weapon to fight for the people in No Straight Roads, to immerse yourself in a world of dreams and nightmares in games like Melatonin and Thumper, and control the pace of your actions in games like Hi-Fi Rush and Crypto the Necro Dancer. The sales of the original Res weren't great, but with every innovation, Res was there. From Dreamcast to PlayStation 2 to Xbox 360 and to PS4. By the time Res Infinite released, 15 years after the original, it was considered a modern masterpiece and a modern classic. It's cool to see this game and the opinions of it change over the years. Res Infinite is still continuing to be ported, with the most recent port being to the PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2. I'm glad to see more games like this release over the years, and I can't help but feel Res was ahead of its time when you see games that could have taken influence from it, directly or indirectly. Finally, I'm thankful for people like Tetsuya Mizuguchi, and the talented developers and engineers working with him to research and explore synesthesia, creating some truly one-of-a-kind experiences. Thanks for watching the full video. If you want to support the channel, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing the video with others. You can find me at Ryan Beardy on social media, as well as Discord with links in the description below.